Hello and welcome to this match preview for Southampton hosting QPR. Now, if you want to check out my review for the last game we played against Plymouth, it'll be like somewhere up there. I don't really know. But yeah, it's like a 20-minute review if you want to check that out. But we'll give a brief overview of that game. Obviously, we won 2-1 with a late goal from Che Adams. Very lucky. I'll say that, very lucky, especially in that first half. This is what I talked about the most in the review, was the midfield dynamic, the lack of tracking, the lack of quality positioning and choice making. There was a lot of times where players were either over eager to try and win the ball, over aggressive in certain areas where we shouldn't be, and then there was times where no tracking back. And it's understandable, you've got a guy, defensive mid, first senior game, start. You've got Stuart Armstrong, who's not particularly a centre mid, and then you've got Adam Armstrong playing as an 8/10. I mean, that sort of is not the greatest dynamic. But overall, we won. We were very lucky. Plymouth could have easily hit us for more on the counter, but they really wasted their chances. And that's the one thing you can look at the Southampton team is we will give away chances, and there will be teams like Norwich, for example, who will score four. And obviously against Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday, not so much. They really only had the one chance, but against Plymouth, there was chances. And we were lucky enough that they didn't take them, and we obviously walked away with the win. But that's sort of the quick review again. If you want to watch it, it'll be somewhere. But yeah, so now we're going to talk about Southampton obviously first. Just a quick one with FLYNN Downes obviously signing. He's going to be crucial, I feel. We need a defensive mid. We obviously need a lot of positions, but whether that will happen by the end of the window, who knows? Maybe there's a new signing, when this video comes live. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic. But yeah, FLYNN Downes on loan. I don't know if there's an obligation to buy. I don't think there is, which is a bit of a shame. But he knows the system Russell Martin wants to play, and he's a very aggressive player, which is nice in defensive mid, which sometimes you need. But yeah, he's going to be a good player, and I wouldn't be surprised if he started. I mean, Shea Charles did get man of the match. I don't believe he should have, but it's all opinions at the end of the day. But I think he'll be absolutely crucial. I think he probably has to start against QPR. Now, my OBS bloody crashed. It's done about 6 times today, and I'm already fuming. But we're going to be talking about QPR now. Now, again, I'm no expert. I'm no professional analysis. But I've watched a little bit. Obviously, haven't watched any of their games, full games, really delving in. But I've watched a little bit and sort of got a few pointers. We're going to start off with the defensive side. Obviously, they've been a bit unlucky in games, the last two especially against Norwich in the Cup and Ipswich. I mean, I watched some of the game. No, obviously, I'm talking about highlights, right? Come on. And they were unlucky, really. There were some real unlucky moments and a bit of luck that just didn't fall their way. Obviously, I've seen the Watford thrashing in the league and obviously beating Cardiff. So they've not had the greatest start, sitting in 17th. But when it comes to what I've seen, and again, not professional analysis, I may skip over things, I may get things wrong, it happens. What they have is 2 problems, 2 defensive issues. I feel like I'm going to just bottle this. They have difficulties defending from wide areas, okay? All the chances that I saw created, in the last 2 games especially, all wide. Crosses into the box, they don't deal with the best, and I feel this is coming to me in a moment of I don't know. I don't know. The midfield don't seem to be very good. I'm just saying it defensively. I think there's a similar issue with QPR that we actually have, where you have the back line, players are getting in behind, and there's just the back line drops, as you do. And then there's just a space there where the midfielder, one or two midfielders, isn't covering that space. And I think that's causing a lot of issues. There's a lot of times where Norwich, for example, that's coming to me in the EFL Cup game, cut it back 45. Many times where the balls were just in the box, you'd clear it, it'd fall to someone else. There was many times where I just felt like they weren't good at clearing possession. And also with set pieces. And now, as a Southampton fan, we all know about how bad we are with set pieces. So it's easy to tell when other teams are. There was a lot of opportunities that were crossed into the box that were wasted really by the opposition. But the lack of sort of being switched on, really, the lack of being switched on. which is 100% what Southampton do. It's not exactly like QPR are the worst in the world. We're probably worse. So it's easy to see, another team doing it. So those are really the two issues. I can't really speak too much because in reality, I haven't watched the full 90 of every game. So I can't exactly tell you 100% what they do. But another point, which was their attacking, is they don't take their chances. I saw some howlers. I'll tell you right now. I saw a man miss for about 4 yards. 4 yards! It's a Che Adams moment. Like, oh my God. It was rough to see. It was rough to see. So that's probably my three things about QPR's difficulty containing wide areas, set pieces, and they just don't take their chances. That's about all I've got to say about QPR. Obviously, if you're a QPR fan, I did my best. I'm not an expert. And maybe next time I'll get it better. But we'll talk about Southampton now. We'll just jump straight into the preferred lineup because preferred lineups where we're going to talk about it all, right? So obviously there's a lot of players that are going to be the same. But in general, I'm just going to talk about how we're going to do because I feel like against QPR, 17th place away from home against a team that, where are we, third? I actually don't remember. I think we're third or like second or something. Well, we're unbeaten after 3, 2 wins, 1 draw. A lot of goals conceded, but a lot of goals scored. I don't know if we're the top scorer, but we're one of the top scorers in the league. But then again, we're one of the top conceded. So I think QPR, we're looking at this game thinking they can have their 80% possession. They can have their 75 or 70 or whatever it ends up being. And we'll hit them on the counter because we are absolutely leaky on the counter. Maybe if FLYNN Downes plays, sort of gives that coverage in midfield, a bit more defensive positioning, defensive understanding of where to be to sort of protect the back four. And I think QPR are going to be licking their lips to counter. I mean, I think every single team that we come across is going to be like, we can easily counter these guys because, as I've said many times, we are shit at defending the transitions. When we lose possession, when opposition is starting counter-attack, we suck. Especially against Plymouth, you could see 3 or 4 passes they're in behind. Same against Norwich, 3 or 4 passes they're in behind. Sheffield Wednesday had a set piece and they just won the first ball, scored with the second touch. Right, so it's those sort of things that really cause us an issue. And I think QPR are going to be looking for that, as should every team basically, because the midfield is a joke. Obviously, I don't know if Alcaraz is fit for this game. Smallbone's obviously out for further. FLYNN Downes has just joined. I'm guessing he's fit to play. Other than that, we really don't have many midfield options. So our midfield's a bit stretched, and we have to sort of rely on our ability to just completely control the game. Not so much on the transitions where teams will, transition against us and we sort of deal with it, more that we don't even create those opportunities for them, which would mean 99% possession. But yeah, so we'll talk about the preferred lineup. It was a little set piece. Obviously, Gavin in goal. The worst keeper in the league, according to a lot of people. Right back, Kyle Walker-Peters. Hopefully he stays. Who knows, though? There's a lot of teams sort of sniffing around him and other players. Benrak has to play. I hate saying those words. Stevens has to play, as he's captain now. We haven't brought a centre-back in yet. Capella Kopchap's still injured. Lianco, you don't want him touching the ball. Left back, Manning didn't have the greatest game against Plymouth, but we all know he's going to play. Perot, I don't know, man. Perot, he's got positives and he's got a lot of cons. When it comes to Perot, he is like, when you know how I was talking about Shea Charles being overly aggressive and midfielders being overly aggressive. He's the definition of, I'm going to run up this guy's A-nuck and just win the ball. And then proceeds to never win the ball and just is completely out of position. There's many, many times you saw on the Prem. I remember this one goal against Tottenham Hotspur. We drew 3-3. First goal of the game, it's just a pass from someone on the left-hand side. Just plays a ball across. And Pedro Porro's like basically just outside the box. And the closest man's about 20 metres away. You're just in there like, left back, where are you, buddy? You know? So his positioning and his over-eagerness to win the ball have really cost us. So obviously Manning's going to play. With the midfield, basically assuming FLYNN Downes is going to play, and obviously I'd rather him play him as well. So FLYNN Downes in defensive mid, I think he's going to have to play Stuart Armstrong. I don't think he has a choice. But I'm actually, here we go. Are you ready for this? If FLYNN Downes is available to play, I wouldn't be surprised. And this is if Alcaraz isn't fit, because I actually don't know about his knock. I don't know how serious it is. I'm going for Shea Charles defensive mid, FLYNN Downes centre mid with Stuart Armstrong, but Stuart Armstrong's more of the advanced one, and Flynn Downes is more of the box to box, I would say. Doesn't have to be box to box, but more defensive minded in that regard, dictating the tempo sort of player. I think we could see that sort of midfield trio. But that depends if Alcaraz fit. Obviously, if Alcaraz is fit, that changes the whole dynamic. You'll probably go Flynn Downes, defensive mid, Stuart Armstrong, centre mid with Alcaraz sort of as the 8/10 role. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Shea Charles, Downes, and Stuart Armstrong because at the moment, I do not know if Alcaraz is fit, so I'm just assuming that he is not going to be fit for this game. I haven't heard anything about it, so who knows. And obviously, these videos come out before the Martin interviews before the game, so he'll confirm probably before this video even comes live, which would be great. But that will be my midfield. Front three now, we got a lot of talk up here. Teller, Leverkusen, they love him over there in Germany. They really want him. Whether they will pay, I think, is it 25 we want for him? Whether he'll... Nice speaking. If they do pay that, then obviously he's gone, really. But apparently it's one of those situations which is similar to a lot of other players. It's sort of like if they don't pay what we want, they're happy to stay. And then obviously if they do pay what we want, see you later. So I'm assuming Teller is at least going to be here for this week. To be fair, I haven't gone on Twitter today, so I don't actually know the sort of updates of the transfers. So Teller may be fucking in Germany right now. I wouldn't know. But I'm guessing that they haven't paid it yet. So Teller will be right wing. Striker-wise, I think Adams, I don't know if it's confirmed yet. Again, haven't been on Twitter today. Don't know if it's confirmed yet, but I'm thinking Adams is basically gone. So it's going to be Adam Armstrong. If James is basically gone, even if it's not fully agreed by the weekend or whatever, but it's basically like a 90% chance he's gone, he's not going to be involved. So Adam Armstrong will be leading the line. He's played well, but I'm still waiting for him to really kick on. He's done well in certain areas, but there's a lot to improve, right? There's a lot to improve, which I'm more than happy to give him time to improve. So obviously Adam Armstrong will be the 9. Left wing has to be a Dozy. Again, this is the issue we sort of have, is the lack of depth. I know people were like, a Dozy strapped or whatever, for some reason. Who are you going to bring in at left wing? Sulemana, not fit. Gineppo? Probably not. You're going to play Mara left wing? No. Maybe Adam Armstrong left wing, Mara through the middle. Probably not, right? You're going to play Adam Armstrong through the middle. Adozie has to play on left wing. There's no one else. Now, I'm desperate to sign a winger. 100%. We're desperate to sign a winger. We need one for sort of rotation. We got obviously the youngster, the starlet. Again, don't know how to say his name. But you know who I'm talking about. Again, as I've said previously in videos, don't want him to start. I want him to sort of slowly bleed into the team as he's been doing at the moment. And same with sort of Dominic Ballard. So don't want him to start. I'd rather him come off the bench still to sort of, again, bleed him in. So it'd have to be the same front three. Well, it's not the same because we played Adams last time, but you know what I mean. Adam Armstrong, Teller, Adozie. Because I don't understand the Adozie hate, to be honest. Yes, his final third isn't the greatest when it comes to creating chances, passing right or cross and stuff. He beats his man every time. Basically, every time he dribbles past someone. And he's young, mate. You can train the bloody final third, but you can't really train the ability just to mug someone off. All right, that's more natural talent. But yeah, we're going to talk about prediction now because that's sort of the team I'd expect and the team I'd want, right? Predictions for this game. I don't think you can predict a clean sheet because knowing us, that's not possible. And I don't think you could predict a clean sheet for QPR either. So I'm guessing when it comes to Southampton, there's a lot of fucking goals. QPR struggling to score, but Southampton love just, here's a goal, mate. Here's a goal. No issue. Here we go. So I'm going to have to go for, obviously I'm going to back Southampton this game. We've had a better start. We've got better players. We're playing a very dominant style of football that has got its cons with the counter-attacking, the lack of transition, or lack of good transition, I'll say, in the defensive side. So I will go for a Southampton win. Result-wise, 3-1. I think it won't be a comfortable win because when has it for us? We literally have all our games so far. We've scored in the 94th plus minute to get a draw or a win. So that's always... No, that's a lie. The first one was like 87. I'm a liar. I'm a thief. Yeah, so I'll go for 3-1 Southampton. we're going to concede on the counter. That's basically guaranteed at this point, regardless if FLYNN Downs plays or not. I just feel like we're still not at that level to sort of stop that. The defensive transition's not good enough. And then for us, I think our overall attacking play is going to be too much for QPR. Especially if Downs is in, I feel like there'll be a bit of midfield balance against Plymouth. We did struggle at times to sort of break them down. But I feel like if FLYNN Downs does play, the balance of the midfield would be a lot better and allows the players like Stuart Armstrong if he's playing there, or Alcaraz if he's playing there, to sort of, get into that more attacking role without having to sort of sit deeper and help the defensive mids and the back four play out. So yeah, that's going to be my prediction, 3-1. Yeah, that's about the video done, to be honest. I'll be live. I'm going to start doing it live, even though it's at 2 a.m. I'm going to start doing it live a bit earlier, so probably about half an hour before the game, I'll probably go live. Just to have a little bit of a talk before the game kicks off, obviously. I may be in a new setup, so that'll be quite nice. But yeah, I hope you boys enjoyed, and I'll see you boys for the watch along. Hopefully we get 3 points. Obviously, if you want to vote on the community post about who wins, then it'll be there on the community post page on the channel. But yeah, like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys for the watch along.